Hello. Do not look behind me, okay? I'm wearing my bear shirt to distract you from looking behind me, all right? Let's just all agree to not look at my bookshelves. I'm in the middle of a lot of things, so my bookshelves are in disarray right now. So anyways, look at the Lucky Bear shirt instead of behind me. Thank you. Okay, let's get to the video. So this video is going to be obviously my December reading wrap up, which is the best reading month I have had ever. 12 books, which 12 doesn't seem like a lot, but oh my god, it's a mess over here. Also, don't look over here. I'm so embarrassed. These pages, there's also picture one more little novella. The amount of pages that I read this month, who am I? Who do I think I am? I will say okay, I'll wait for the second time. Hey, Loon. Hey, Luna. Stop. Thank you. I will say, the readathon itself got me these 3. So if I didn't do the 24-hour challenge, I would have only had 9. But since I did do the readathon, I have 12 books. So let's get into it. Okay, starting off, I read Iron Flame. Finally, I read it, loved it. There's a cat hair in the pages, a little Luna hair. I gave it a 4.75 just because there were a couple of chapters like in the middle, right when part 2 started, that I was a little bored. I felt they were necessary for the story because they gave us information, so I understand why she wrote them. I just was a little bored. And of course I wanted more Xaden. He was gone a lot, which it was for the plot, so I get it, but I wanted more Xaden. But part 1 was 6 out of 5. I loved everything. I loved the interrogation, all of the little things she had to do with her squad. I thought was like so cool. I ate them up. Everything. I even ended up being fine with Dane. Like everything I was fine with. And then the end happened, and we're not going to talk about it, okay? And then I started now one of my favorite series of all time. I started the Pucking Around series. So I started with the prequel that one night, which... if you start the Pucking Around series and don't read this, what are you doing? It is 72 pages. You can read it in an hour. It is so quick and easy, and it's so worth the read. The story would not have been the same to me if I hadn't read this and met Jake and Rachel beforehand. But this just follows the very first time Jake and Rachel met before she went to go work for the hockey team. So it's like a full plot point on its own before the book even starts. So if you don't read this first, you're missing out. But anyways, love Jake Compton. I would die for him. I love a golden retriever athlete. Then I immediately jumped into the same night. I read Pucking Around. I started it at like 9 p.m. and read until 5 a.m. and then missed my alarms and was late to work because of it. But worth it. So worth it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. The only reason it wasn't a 5 out of 5 was because it's like slightly unrealistic and like the timeline is like a 5 months total. But I love these characters. Love the story. Love the plot. She somehow made me like believe in it and believe their love. And just watching all these characters fall in love and become vulnerable. I was a mess. I was a blubbering mess. The smut, unmatched. Absolutely unmatched. Loved it. But Caleb, Rachel, Jake, Amari... oh my god, I love all of them. Then I read immediately after Pucking Around Pucking Ever After Volume 1. Another quick little novella, but worth the read. You have to read it. The one thing I like about her novellas is she doesn't just, it's not like an extra little chapter. It's not like a little extra epilogue. She jumps around. She'll either do an extra chapter that we didn't get in the first book, like a scene that people wanted to read, and then she'll jump 5 years ahead and do like a scene in the future, and then she'll jump back again. Like, we're constantly moving around, and I like that it's not just one extra like couple scenes from the first book. Then I read Light Lark. I'm not gonna lie, I went into this not knowing if I was gonna like it, and I didn't. I gave it a 2 out of 5. There was a lot going on. There's a lot of rules in it. Even if I tried to like summarize this very quickly, I don't think I could do a good job. Basically, every 100 years an island reappears and all of the world leaders, all the leaders of these different islands have to come together to try and break this curse. But it's like the whole time it was a competition for some reason, because one of the rulers had to die. But like, if they were so desperate to break this curse, why not work together? Why can't we all just work together? They're looking for this heart that was in the shape of the dumbest thing I've ever read about in my entire life. And I don't want to tell you, but if you've read it, you know what it is. And if you like this book, I'm sorry, I just didn't like it. Why would we not why would everyone in the whole world, if it's so rare and we need to find it that desperately, why not have every single person on this island looking for it? And then we'll decide who dies. It just, you want to put it up to a competition, let 2 people look for you, like pair together with another one. There were so many rules, and to the point where it felt like she was just adding in rules to make the plot thicken. Like, I don't know, it was just a lot. And then there was like a really annoying love triangle that I didn't even know was supposed to be a love triangle until the end, because I didn't like this one character that much. And then she chose him. Out of nowhere, chose him. And I could not get behind that. I actually went to Barnes & Noble when the second one, Nightbane, came out to read the last chapter to see if I would want to read it at all, because I didn't care that much about what happened. I didn't care if it spoiled it for me. So I read the last chapter. It was like 2 pages. Never going to read Nightbane. Based off the end, no. I had zero interest. It left off in another cliffhanger, but it basically told me what the entire book was gonna be about, and I was gonna be angry the entire time. So, Light Lark, 2 out of 5. I will not be reading the next one. Then another damper. I read Wreck the Halls. Another 2 out of 5, I think. Yeah, I gave this one 2 out of 5 too. I was excited for like a silly little romantic rom-com-y holiday book. Wasn't even holiday. There was nothing Christmassy about this. The girl was annoying. Basically, their moms were in a band together like a long time ago, and they had a really bad breakup and they don't talk to each other anymore. And the main girl and boy, when they were like 14, met each other for like 30 seconds before they went to go do interviews. And apparently it was just sparks fly. It was just literally Alexa play Sparks Fly by Taylor Swift. Tessa Bailey made a point to say that the girl was basically fugly and had like acne and braces, and the guy was like this hot 15-year-old who was like way out of her league, but apparently he was just so in love with her. Like, let's be real, probably wasn't. But he was so in love with her to the point where it jumps ahead 10 years or something to his 15 years I think, to his 30th birthday party, and he was like, everyone's here, I should be so happy, all of my friends and family are here except her. 15 years go by and you're upset she's not at your 30th birthday party? I just was like, so if you're that enamored by her, that in love with her, why would you not have reached out at some point? Like, her POV is that she knows who he is. They found each other on social media. Why would you not reach out? It was just stupid. And then when they finally have sexy time, he's into edging. He's into edging, which is fine. If that's what you're into, go for it. Not my circus, not my monkeys. But all because he... Excuse me. He's into edging. All because he thinks he's had such a privileged life that he doesn't deserve to finish. And that one really just sold the deal for me. That he is the ickiest, most pick-me guy I've ever read about. It just didn't do it for me at all. Then we start to pick up. Don't worry. I'm done complaining. We went to Killer Instinct. I went to Killer Instinct. It wasn't us. And this was the second in the Natural series. It followed Dean, showed more on like his background, his dad. I really enjoyed learning more about his background, but there wasn't as much like cutesy, teenage, romancy love in this one as there was in the first one. So that's why I liked the first one better. I gave this one a 4. Still loved the story and everything. Just didn't have as many aspects as it did in the first one. And like some of my favorite characters weren't shown as much in this one, which is fine. It was focused on Dean, but Dean also kind of annoys me sometimes, and he gives pick me also, so it's okay. I moved on to then the next Pucking Around book, which was Pucking Wild, which is reverse age gap. So the girl is 30, I believe, or 32 or something, and the guy's 22. Love that. I'm all for a reverse age gap. And it's forced proximity. She like has a crazy ex-husband, or like they're in the process of divorce and he won't let her get divorced. They work at the same law firm, and he basically like runs the show. Like his mom or something owns it. He's a mama's boy. Basically loses her job, like almost she goes on suspension, and goes to visit Rachel at her NHL team in Jacksonville, and ends up staying in a house who also the main guy ends up staying there too, just out of happenstance. He just has to stay there. She ends up staying there. So it's forced proximity. They turn to besties. They turn to lovers. It's just all good fun. I love it. Any scene with Rachel and her guys, I eat it up. It's so sweet. He's also like a little golden retriever boyfriend. I love him. God. I just have nothing bad. It's not as good as Pucking Around just because I like the guys in Pucking Around like with my whole heart, and I still like the guy in this one too, but I gave it a 4.25. And afterwards, I don't have the physical copy, but it's basically the exact same thing as this, just Pucking Ever After Volume 2. So it gives more into Tess and what's his name? Ryan. So it goes more into Tess and Ryan's story like later on, other things that happen, and we even get more Rachel and her boys' point of view. So love it. I gave it a 4. Next, this is when I started my readathon, so if they get a little chummy in my head, it's because I was delirious reading them. But Allin, I gave a 4 out of 5, which thinking back, I think I would move it to a 4.25 because I liked this one better than Killer Instinct. This one followed Sloane, and she's my favorite character, so I loved her. I loved finding out more about her background. Also, like, it showed more like of her mind and how it works, and I am so confused on how this author, like, it was so cool with the whole numbers thing she does, and then there was a really big plot twist at the end that really got me. I was shocked. I was worried I wasn't gonna like it because I had a feeling it was coming, but she did it in a way that I really liked it. So I'm really excited to read the last one. Then I jumped into X-Hex, which I hate to admit I didn't love. I gave it a 2.5 just because the plot didn't really do it for me. It was really funny. Definitely the funniest book I've read. Like, I laughed out loud at a couple. I was giggling at some parts. The plot was fine. It's kind of like magical-ish, like she's a witch and she and her friend curse this guy as a joke, but it actually ends up cursing him, and he comes back for like it's like giving Vampire Diaries when it's like the town, what's the word, anniversary something, where he has to come back and he's one of the owners or something. I don't know. Anyways, he comes back. He's cursed. Everything's going to shit. She like feels responsible because she's the one who cursed him and has to help him figure all these things out. All up until then, it was fine. I enjoyed the plot, but then out of nowhere, it like goes into like a ghost subplot where like a ghost is around and they just have to get rid of the ghost. But then it like the ghost subplot like turned into the main plot, and then all of a sudden this ghost is like a big character and the major point of the story. And then it also she was like, oh, by the way, if you don't do this, this, and this before midnight, he's gonna die. Why are we bringing death into this? He's clearly not gonna die. It's not a sad book. It's a rom-com. He's not gonna die. I wasn't even for a second thinking he was going to. Like, sorry, spoiler alert. The guy doesn't die in the rom-com. It just felt like a stretch. But I liked the main guy a lot. I thought he was cutie and silly and fun. I just didn't love the plot and the ghost subplot. And then, last but not least, Hot House Flower. This is the 6th, I think, 5th or 6th in the Addicted Calloway Sister series, and it follows Reich and Daisy, and I actually ate this up. All of it, the whole thing, ate it up. I gave it a 4.5. Well, I love an age gap romance, obviously. He's 25, she's 18. So it's like a little questionable. I get it being questionable, but she made me love it. She made me accept it and not think that it was weird, especially for like how old Daisy acts and just like how mature she is. And I like a little like secret dating for a little bit, and they find out, and then there's drama. There's so much drama. Oh my god. This is my favorite book so far, but I think I still like Rose and Connor the most. I don't know. It's a close tie, but this one for sure is my favorite book so far. But that's it. Really hope I go into January ready to read this many books because I ended the year amazingly. Also really excited to start reading more fantasies and start finishing more series and whatnot. Books that I read at the beginning of the year were like very frilly romances. Like I was still reading Colleen Hoover and everything, and then by the end of the year I was reading all these dark fantasies and whatnot. I want to start Throne of Glass. I want to like eventually get into Crescent City. There's just so many, and I'm so excited, and I'm so glad that you're here to watch me probably fail. But thanks for watching me talk about my books again for the 100th time, and I hope you come to the next one where you're gonna listen to me talk about my books again. And in the next one, my bookshelves will be prettier, I promise. Bye.